Hello, loyalists and heretics. Welcome to Warhammer 40,000 Gladius. I am the Wasteland Viking, and for those who don't know about this game, this is a turn-based strategy sort of game. Obviously that's what it is. And also, it's kind of in the same vein as the Civilization games. It's very similar to it. But obviously it has different mechanics, it has a tech tree with it, and different things like that. There's an introduction video that is in here. Because of the way that I've had to set this game up, with some help of the Slytherin support team for this game, it runs. But once I get my recording software, once I'm recording it and stuff like that, it's bad. So I am going to have to cut it out, and sadly I won't be able to put it back in. But the gist of it is I'm going to be playing the introduction because so start an introduction game with Space Marines on the easiest difficulty. It is a game that I have played a little bit of on just normal difficulty, as, a new game and stuff, as a different faction, as the Necrons. There are part reasons why I chose the Necrons, but I'll get into that much later. But yeah, so going to be doing the introduction as the Space Marines, and yeah, let's get into it. So I have recorded an episode before, but in my opinion, I kind of did it in a very not how to explain it. Like, it was informative, but it was a bit much. It wasn't related to the game much. Half of the time, I was just talking about the tabletop game. I will be referring to the tabletop game a bit, but not as much as I did. So. Anyway, so the camera. Welcome to Gladius. To move the camera, position your mouse over terrain. Click and hold the left mouse button and move your mouse. Once you're comfortable with your surroundings, click OK. Yeah, pretty comfortable with the surroundings. We've got all different kinds of stuff. We got desert, grassland, savanna, got volcanic, tundra even. My god, like Arctic. There's Arctic stuff in here as well. Very environmentally different. Click OK. Yeah, thank you. Alright. Colonization, Space Marines. Space Marines deploy most of their crucial infrastructure from orbit. To found your fortress, which is the backbone of your chapter on Gladius and elsewhere, click the Deploy City button in the Operations panel, which is up here, in the top left, and select an empty tile in sight. Note that Space Marines only have one city. Yes, the city is the Fortress Monastery for your chapter. So obviously, I mean, the Space Marines are the poster boys, the face of Warhammer 40,000 anyway, and it's always the Ultramarines. I understand why. I'm not going to get into the lore because, first of all, I don't know it a whole lot, 100%. And, just their place in the universe, I understand why. But they're, for me anyway, it's hard for me to play or like a somewhat goody two-shoes sort of group, and that's kind of... That's the vibe I get from them anyway. They're very goody two-shoe type stuff. So let's deploy our city. So I'll go over the tile information a little bit later. But like, for example, this area right here, the tile that I'm obviously not allowed to build on, but the Promethium relay pipes and different outposts and things like that, which are the checkered out, you know, white tiles. When you settle next to it, you claim that outpost. Because of kind of how slow the game is, some sounds happen before the actual action happens. But you get the idea. Alright, so end turn button. Take your time to explore the interface. Every element has a hint to provide you with extra information. Whenever you are unsure what to do next, refer to the red task button on the right side of the screen. It will help you focus on the next task before you end your turn. Alright. So, city resources. I'm just going... Oh, crap. So, these are the resources, and whenever you build units and, like, build cities and units and things like that, they cost a certain amount of whatever resource that faction may use. And, yeah, it just comes out of the pool. So, yeah, here buildings are listed with their available actions. Note that all buildings of the same type are grouped together and can only perform one action at a time. Although multiple actions can be queued up, the required resources will be immediately subtracted from your global pool. So these are what your current city has and what it produces. That's the general idea of what that tutorial was before I accidentally clicked on it. Exit out of it. So acquiring tiles. Before you can construct additional buildings, you have to claim more tiles. Go ahead and click Acquire Tile and select a tile with one or more building slots adjacent to your city borders. So these are the city borders, and that's the symbol on the map for building slots. So this tile right here that I'm hovering over, that's 3 building slots that we can have on there. So acquiring a tile will take a few turns and cost some influence. This is how Tyranid expand their stuff. So Tyranid cities consume all tile biomass when acquiring a tile, which makes complete sense because in the lore, they consume everything that they can anyway that's biomassable, pretty much. Turn it into this gooey cesspool of stuff, and that's how they make their units. That's how they reproduce and just things like that. And you can, I mean, sometimes the cannon fodder, the very weak ones, they throw back in the frickin' pools to make more biomass. It's interesting how they do it. This biomass is added to your pool of resources and is then forever depleted from the tile. Malanthropes, which are at the core of any Tyranid economy, are able to consume tiles across all of Gladius, even in faraway remote locations. That's a cool little thing about Tyranids that we could do. So anyway, so it was mentioning acquiring tiles. Actually, let me talk about city resources real quick. So population is used to operate buildings in the city. Each enabled building requires 1 population to operate. If the required population exceeds the current population, the resource output of buildings is reduced. And also what you can do, if you have to, you can put production to sleep. So if we were to put this to sleep, whatever thing was required for population required to actually operate this thing, used to operate this building, it goes away and can be used for a different purpose, kind of thing. But we've only got 1 right now, so if we turn that off, it's just not being used. That's how it turns out. So growth indicates how fast the city grows. Once enough growth has been accumulated, the population increases by 1. The growth rate decreases with the population approaching the population limit. So we have population limit of what? I don't see it here. It says that we still only have 1. Oh yeah, duh. 1 of 6. So we have 1 going on. So every 4 turns, so right now it looks like every 4 turns our population will increase by 1. Which is, I mean, it's all right to do that, obviously. But anyway, and then we can have other buildings be built and more people be able to work on it. We have to make sure that we keep a certain building, in the Space Marines cases, the Astartes. I'm just going to call them Astartes because it's faster to say. Their official term is the Adeptus Astartes, for those who don't know. So with any Astartes thing, they use dormitories, where you can, pretty much the population here isn't population of like citizens or anything like that. It's a population for Astartes type thing, or Imperium. I'm guessing like Imperium officials or something like that. I don't know, but they operate the buildings. However that works. Requisitions used to sustain the population in the city, construct buildings as well as produce and maintain units. And I guess technically, even the fortress monasteries of Space Marines have actual civilians in it. Not very often, and also just like big cities like Onterra and things like that, Mars even, they have citizens. So to say that in a city in the Imperium there are no citizens is very, very, very inaccurate. Because I mean, obviously they have to produce to, you know, survive kind of thing. Anyway, that's a whole different topic for a time that's not this game. Alright, energy. Used to maintain buildings as well as produce and maintain special units. A lot of vehicles and things like that need energy. And research used to discover new technologies. So we produce plus 6.3 research per turn. We get plus 6 from buildings and plus 0.3 from loyalty. Alright. Research, kind of the same thing. Buildings that are related to energy, 1.2 from features, which is this. The tile gives us a plus 20% energy and plus 20% requisition. That's why I put it on there, is because it gives us pretty good stuff, like just really good stuff with it. And then, I mean, same thing with this. So we get 14.1 per turn, plus 12 because of buildings, plus 2.4 because of features, and plus 0.7 from loyalty, but minus 1 from population. Whenever population happens, obviously it consumes your requisitions, and all units like these tactical Space Marines here, the 2 right here, they also, I think, they cost like 2 requisitions to upkeep. So this is a huge one that we actually need to keep track of. Yeah, it's minus 4 from units. Yeah, they're two apiece. So that's where a lot of our stuff is coming out of or from. But last if not least, loyalty. It indicates the population's dedication to your cause. Each positive point of loyalty increases the city's total resource output by 1%, while each negative point decreases it by 2%, down to a maximum, I believe, of negative 50%. Each city after the first decreases loyalty in all cities by 6. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that because we're only allowed 1 city. But there are obviously things that can happen that decreases the loyalty to begin with, and obviously units and or buildings that help increase loyalty, and also all of these other resources. So we need to make sure that we research those buildings and or units and keep it going. That's the general idea and consensus of this game. It's to get the technology you need to make yourself better, stronger, and faster, to be honest. So our Great Hall gives us the population limit of 6. Requisitions used to sustain the population of the city, construct buildings as well as produce and maintain units. Alright, so we've already talked about that bit. But this is the minimum amount that the Great Hall has given us. Gives us 15 requisitions, 8 energy, 6 research to begin with, 6 influence, and 6 loyalty. So that's good. So the orbital relay, it gives us 6 production, indicates how fast the building produces. The faster that number goes, obviously the faster things turn-based. This is a turn-based game. I'm sure you guys have noticed, also because of the counter on the top. It increases or decreases the time it takes to have something be produced. So we also need to keep track of that. It does a minus 3, so minus 3 energy from buildings. So from this total here, I believe, it does a minus 3 per turn. And then it also yeah, cost attributes. So it has 6 production and 6 influence. Those are the positive numbers, and obviously it costs energy to use it. Upkeep of 3, yes. Okay. That helps a little bit with that. So the orbital relay, it's a building that constructs new buildings and generates influence. Attributes of the production and influence of 6. So the cost here, the 8 turns, 48 production, and 80 requisitions. That's how much it costs to make it. So if you want to make that building somewhere else or anything like that, I believe. Well, I mean, actually you can't. That's the thing, is that as Astartes, Adeptus Astartes, you cannot make more of certain buildings. But anyway, so in normal times, the various teleportaria would be used to transport troops to and from nearby starships. In these warp-torn times, the orbital relay serves a more important function, communicating with the low-orbiting battle barge and calling down important requisitions for rapid surface deployment. So that's... I'm going to be reading this fluff bit. It's going to be making this game take a little bit longer, but I'm okay with that, and it helps me know the game. I mean, like I said, I just bought this game yesterday. I have played, I'd say, about 6 hours of it, with random different factions and with different ideas on it and different strategies for it. So I haven't come to a conclusive, this is how I'm going to be doing it kind of thing. So the Great Hall, headquarters building that generates resources. So the attributes, that's obviously the stuff that it gave us. Traits, headquarters, destroying the headquarters unit destroys the entire city. So it costs 56 turns to make and 336 production. So it took a long time. It would take a long time to make this building. Every fortress monastery contains myriad halls large enough to house several armies, and most have to a great hall. Okay, some of the ways that they word it is weird for me. But most have to a great hall. Okay, centerpiece of a chapter's home. Trophies, relics, and even its most revered spacecraft may be housed within the Great Hall. If the sight of the Great Hall does not reduce a visitor to dumbfounded silence, then it has failed in its purpose. So yes, the Warhammer 40,000 universe is huge. It is meant to be big-scaled, and yeah, that's the gist of it. It's huge, and that's one reason why I love it so much. But anyway, so that's our building. It told us to acquire a tile. So acquiring tiles, it acquires a new tile for the city. Buildings can only be built on acquired tiles. Each tile has an influence upkeep. So it takes 2 turns to make. It's a production of 12, 5 requisition and 5 influence. So obviously those requisition and influence points and the production as well. For me, the production's a little vague of how it works, because it's not an actual stat or statistic thing up here like it is in Civilization. So for me, it's a little vague of how it works. But and then, you know, requisition and influence -5 from what we have. So let's do that so we can start building buildings, obviously. So each tile has a certain resource that it works well with. So what you want to do is look at the buildings that you want to start having built, and then whatever resource it is good with, like for example the requisition stuff, this one here, the construct and factory, are good for requisitions. And what it does is that it has the attributes, so this one requisitions of 6. If you put that building on a tile that gives plus 20% requisitions, that attribute number will increase by 20%. That is how I understand this, and it wouldn't surprise me that's how it works, because it just makes sense, and it'll pop up a tutorial bit at some point when it actually refers to that. So you have to make sure to match up the resource of a building with the resource on the tile to do maximum efficiency, or try to anyway. Make it as efficient as possible. And obviously there's the Generatorium, that's what it is, the Librarium, the Assimularum. They say things a little weird. And then of course the Apothecarian, which we use to build units. But right now we're not going to be getting into that. So right now let's acquire this. The reason why I want to do that is because it science buildings, so librarium, research buildings. Excuse me. I need to change my terms because in obviously civilization it's science. Anyway, the librarium will get a 10% increase, and obviously the refectory, right? Yeah, refectory. Okay, will be getting a plus 20% increase, and I'm just doing that because, and also, I mean, it has the two building slots. So all right, that's our first city. 22 minutes in, almost 23 minutes in, and we just completed our first bit of the city. So, cities. To open the city screen, I've already been through this game. Anyway, you can click on the city name or click on the headquarters twice, which is this building here. This building here. So it's got, you know, the huge twin las cannons and things like that. So it's pretty cool. I have the detail on low, but it's still a really nice game for it being on low, in my opinion. But anyway, you can also select the city's defenses by clicking on the headquarters itself or on the icon above the city. So click obviously on the city or this select unit, which, I mean, obviously technically it's not a unit, but it's a little complicated. And it's not complicated at all, it's just, they just named it that, that's it. All cities have limited firepower and will defend themselves when attacked. Make sure to protect your city at all costs. If you lose all your cities, you are defeated. Since we have the one city, if that one city obviously is gone, our chapter dies. Plain and simple. I've had to change to some water because I've had a lot of soda and beer during the weekend, so I need to rehydrate. Anyway, so yeah, do that. So exploration. Gladius is full of unknown treasure and vicious alien creatures. As you explore, you will receive discovery notifications that can be opened to reveal more information. Some terrain can be explored for rewards, while other features might hurt your unit. Tread carefully. The planet's life can be ruthless, but if you leave it alone, it may spare you. So that's good. Alright, so this bit we have the Promethium relay pipes discovered. Obviously that bit. If you click on it, it will pop up the compendium and give you a little description of it. So, special features that increases the energy output of the city when acquired. These heavily armored ducts once carried energy-rich promethium to the planet's extensive human cities from deeply buried auto refineries. Now with the cities in ruins from war and chaos, the surviving pipes can be exploited by whichever race claims them first. So, I believe this is from, I mean, obviously Tyranids. So these are the bonuses that it gives to Tyranids. This is from, I don't know, it could be from anybody. It could be from the Necron to Orc. I don't know how Orc work in this game yet anyway. I would like to explore it a little bit. It doesn't give any building slots and also gives us energy. Or at least this set gives us energy. And then there's also Wireweed. So Wireweed, feature that ends the movement of a unit and deals damage each turn. Woe betide anyone who wanders into these thickets of brambles. Slowly at first, but faster and faster, the living weed draws its razor-sharp filaments tighter around the hapless intruder. So you can't build anything on it either. There's the thing in the city that you could do where it actually gets rid of stuff like this. Or in the minimum of minus 100 pretty much of movement cost. So yeah. This stuff up here, even forests and things, let's go into the city. Let's click on the name. There's this stuff here called Clear Tile. Restores the tile to its normal state and clears it of wireweed, imperial ruins, and forests one at a time, though. So it kind of does it by layer. And then the cost 2 turns, 2 production. Alright, so stationary units. Some units cannot move but can still perform actions. If they have weapons, like the city headquarters, they can attack. To perform an attack, move your mouse over enemies and right-click. Alright. There aren't any enemies right now, so that's fine. Alright, so I think I'm actually going to end the episode here. I know we haven't touched the units. They are a really fun part of this game. But just introduction bit. We're still in turn 1. We haven't finished the full turn yet. But I'm going to be going through the steps and things like that and kind of going through them and try to be as slow as I can. Because I do actually know how to play this game a bit. Just because it's almost like any other strategy game. If you've played Civilization before, this game is a very easy game to just grasp and kind of understand. It has its own, you know, technical bits of it that is to obviously its own that makes the game unique. So, yeah, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to see how this one works as my Civilization episode that I've uploaded. I have another one on the way, but probably going to be uploading it sometime this week. Maybe like Wednesday or Thursday, I don't know. But hasn't been shown a whole lot of love. So I'm hoping maybe a game that I know of where it has a huge community. Obviously, it's frickin' Warhammer. Games Workshop. Hello, like, it's huge. Hopefully this will get a little bit more love and maybe some, I don't know, some influence and stuff like that. It is a really fun game. And I will see you folks, heretics or loyalists. Let me know if you're a Warhammer fan. Let me know, are you a heretic, a loyalist, or a Xenos? I'm going to add that in there, Xenos, because, I mean, obviously, heretics and loyalists are only related to the Imperium and Chaos. So, do you also like Xenos? I'm a huge Xenos fan. Also, I enjoy every bit of it. So, let me know who you side with and what army you might have, or what you might be interested in getting. But yeah, so I will see you. Oh, and also leave comments, please. Leave comments of any Warhammer talk you want to talk about in general. Eventually, I'll get a Discord and we could actually just have topics. But what you think I should probably do, as far as, I don't know, because I mean this game is relatively, I mean it's very new to me. I don't know how much it is in the community or anything like that. But yeah, just what your input is, what you're excited to see, and just things like that. If you have any questions about Warhammer, I'll give you the best I can. Just things like that. So, and also like and subscribe. That'll help me out a lot. Also share this video, share previous videos I had, but especially this one. And yeah, I'll see you folks in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.